Welcome to week 14 of 52 weeks of gaming. As always, I'm going to pass it off to Nick. He's going to go and tell me what game he's playing. I'm going to do some kind of backstory on the game itself, and then he's going to give his opinion. I'm going to ask him questions, and we're going to go from there. So, yeah. Nick? This week is Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, because that just came out on Game Pass this week, so I'm doing that. And yeah, I definitely played 3. I played Ultimate 3. I've played 2 before, but this one, I played the Marvel vs. Capcom games, so I was like, I'm going to go and play the Marvel vs. Capcom games. So I'm going to do that. I know it's a fighting game. I know there's a bit of a story to it about, combining the worlds. And that's about it. So I'm just going to go with it, do the story, probably do some other stuff, and we'll see how that goes. Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite is the 6th main game in the series. The series started out in the early 90s with X-Men vs. Street Fighter, and then Marvel vs. Street Fighter, and then Marvel vs. Capcom, and so on and so forth until Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. And it's been going for so long, and even this game was a bit worrisome if it was going to go and come out, because Marvel was bought by Disney at a certain point in production, and so Capcom was like, hey, I guess this game's not being made and it's just done. And then Disney was like, hey, our console publishing division is just gone, so they're like, cool, we're going to go and build the game again. And it came out, and it kind of got mixed reviews. I mean, it was the first one to really have a cinematic story, which was super cool, but the art and the character limitations, especially after games like 2 and 3 and Ultimate 3 had more characters in it, so having this much more narrow roster was something that was very critiqued throughout the entire development of it, and even the release and some time afterwards. So it wasn't the biggest hit that I'm sure Capcom wanted it to be. So with all of that in mind, we're going to send it back to Nick so he can say what he thinks of the game. So Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite is a pretty fun fighting game. I mean, it stays true to what the Marvel vs. Capcom series always has been, and this one does put a bit of a interesting story on by saying like there was this convergence of the two worlds, and that explains all of it, and you're constantly fighting, and it takes place about 3 months after the initial convergence, so you have different places like Xgard and Volcanda and all these different places that are merged together, and so it's kind of the people are used to each other, and it's not just like that first initial reaction. It's kind of settled, and everyone's like, okay, here's the current state of the world, and the whole idea is that they need to get the rest of the Infinity Stones. That's where the infinite part comes in, and they need to get them to be able to go and take down the bad guy, who is Ultron Sigma, who is a combination of Ultron and Sigma from the respective Marvel and Capcom universes. And the story itself is pretty cool. I mean, my biggest complaint about it is the fact that it's a 5-second cutscene, fight, 5-second cutscene, then fight, and just repeat itself over and over and over again. Also, for some reason, apparently every guy in the Marvel universe has 9,000 muscles, and it's just watching Cap walk around almost like he's carrying 5 briefcases on each arm just to move his arms around. It's kind of funny, but it's the fighting is really the same, and it all flows really well together, and it's a fun fighting game, and it's always been a fun fighting game for the whole series. And I think one of the interesting things that they go on to add to this one, because you got to make it unique, you got to add something different, is those Infinity Stones. And so in the arcade mode and online and those sorts of different modes that you can go and play, you can use the different Infinity Stones for either a little bit of a surge, so the Soul Stone can go and drain some health back, Reality fires orbs, Time kind of makes you do a quick dash, and then in the Storm, which goes and powers up and does this overall ability. So I think the Soul is probably one of the the best ones, because if you have someone who's down out of your 2 people on your team, then you use the Infinity Stone for the Soul Stone, the other person comes back. And so it's kind of a way that you could almost do like a switch, but it also is kind of risky at the same time. So there's things to it that make it unique, and it is, I want to say, somewhat fairly balanced in the terms of the stones, but you have a lot to go and do in the game. Again, you have the story mode, you have arcade with all the different characters in it, you have mission, which is kind of like your training mode, so you can go in and it'll go and teach you different combos, teach you different kind of moves that each character has to be able to go and practice with them that way. And so there is a lot to do. It's the normal stuff in a fighting game, so there's not an overwhelming amount of things to do, but it's something that is a lot of fun. And as someone who's always liked the Marvel vs. Capcom series, who doesn't really like fighting games, I mean, it's a fun game. So as always, I'm going to ask, who do you think would be someone who would want to go and play this game? I think fighting game people would go and like it. I think anyone who likes Marvel or Capcom games would go and like it. And I think it's something that if they've liked the Marvel and Capcom series before, I think it's definitely something to go and check out. It's not, I think probably everyone's favorite would be like Marvel vs. Capcom 2. 3 was pretty good. Ultimate just kind of added more characters, but Infinite isn't bad, but it is more of the same. Again, they just had the Infinity Stones to kind of give you that new little twist to it. But it's a fun fighting game that people who have played the games before should at least check out. Now, you did mention earlier that there's an online mode. Do you think you're going to go and play it, go against other people to see how well your fighting skills are? Yeah, I don't think I'm going to go and do the online one. I mean, I did do some online matches, but my skill level in fighting games should be well known by now as being awful. So I want really nothing to go and do with the online mode. Even the mission mode, because of having to go and do combos, I am just atrocious at it. It's not something that I ever really want to go and put a lot of time into, because I know I'm going to go and get frustrated. I can't go and do all the button combos. I'm going to leave that to the people who do the fighting games that are experts at it. They're going to be the people who are going to want to go and play it and kind of test it out and see which characters they like and those sorts of things. So I'll probably play arcade mode, but that's really all I'm going to be sticking to at this point. That's it.